Hey guys, welcome back. 5-hour show. Raymond here. Let's get started. So I've already done some prep work, and I will show you what I've done so far. So there's this there's this S hook, and it has a 360 degrees rotatable thing. So it's on this one. I pulled it out, and this is effectively what it is. So I cut the piece out. As you can see, it rotates. Okay, so I've already done that. Now I know what you're going to say. Well, what's the diameter? I'll get to that. But I've disassembled the hook, the S hook. I've trimmed these down. So I cut like maybe half of it off. But what we got to do now is cut this and cut this. This is part of a not Kabaya Kit, but it is Tomy Takara Arts. This is the sprues for a drive header, which is a robot toy. But anyway, I got this part, and this was the idea that I got. So this is actually, I believe this is a 4mm. So this next piece here, I think, is a 5mm. And then this, I suspect, is either, my biggest drill is a drill bit is a 6. So I think it's a 7. It could be an 8. But the point is that we're going to make connectors for the fist. And that's what I want to do today. So without further ado, I want to cut this part, and I'm going to cut it flush to the tape because we're going to have to drill out and then recut again. And there we go. Let's cut this section off here. And you're saying, well, how far is that? So this right here is, that piece is literally about, what is that? It's like 2 centimeters. Okay, so it's 2 centimeters, which is fine. It doesn't need to be any longer, any shorter. And there's a reason. We gotta, but you know what? Even before that, we have to cut it again down the middle. Sorry, I have to put it there. You got to be very careful you don't touch this hot knife. And that's it. We're going to cut again, but what we got to do now is, unfortunately, we have to drill. So I have my pin punch here. But here we go. We're going to pin punch right down the middle. Damn it. Sorry guys, it's kind of hard. There we go. Okay, so it's roughly in the middle. It's not perfectly in the middle, but it's roughly in the middle. Again for this one. Once you get that little dent in there, you're pretty much good to go. If you don't have a pin punch or, a punch like this, use like an ice pick with a hammer as carefully as possible. Okay. Again, they're so small. So I've got my piece in there, and what's next is we're going to drill. Okay, so now we're using a 4mm drill bit, and I put a tape as a stopper. That's how far in we're going to drill. Okay, because you can't go all the way through. Okay, now without further ado, let's drill. My guess is you can drill in just a tad bit more, but it would be preferable if you didn't drill too far in. Okay, and now for the next one. So you can use good measure how far in, So remember, if it's too far in, you may make the part a tad bit weak, and you don't want to do that. That one was off center, but there's nothing I can do about it because I don't have another one to replace it. So it is off centered. So it is off centered, but oh well. You really want it centered. This one's off centered, so that's fine. We'll use it as a left hand. Now we've got that done. We've got our two pieces here. Sand these down too. That's a pain in the butt, so let's do that. Okay, so they're 4mm diameter, and they are roughly cut. Each square represents a centimeter on this mat. So that's 1 centimeter. So I've got two 4mm, 1 centimeter round pegs, okay? Now this one here, I suspect this one, as you can see, this could be most likely a 5mm. That's a 5mm. The larger part, I suspect, is either a 7 or an 8. Most likely, I suspect it's a 7. But the point is that you don't need the parts I got. What you need is 4mm round plastic, most likely from Model Kit Sprues, a 4mm, a 5mm, and something bigger than a 7 or an 8, depending on what you have available, okay? So now, what we're going to do is, once again, we're going to cut. So now that we drilled that hole in there, we're going to cut. So this will definitely go in here, see? But that's the thing is, once we put it in there, we're going to want to glue it in, okay? Now, of course, if you have a 3D printer, that's going to make it way easier. And I would prefer that, to be honest with you. So anyway, this is very dangerous here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut once again. I'm going to bring you out a little bit. I'm going to cut half. And you got to be very careful because this thing would hurt if you cut yourself. Oh, that's about right. Okay. Well, let's cut the other one. This one's much better. So, what we do now is we're going to sand it down. So there were both. So, here we go again. We're going to punch it again. Okay. That one is a good one. I know you guys can't see it that well. This one is the off-centered. Maybe we can... maybe. It's going to be kind of hard. So I'm going to do it sideways, guys. I apologize, but the goal is to get it down the middle. Yeah, that one's kind of tough. Now we're going to drill again. This is the off-centered one. So I'm going to try to straighten it out. Not so great, but not so bad. Okay. That's the off-centered one. Now we're going to drill the better one. There we go. Okay, so, all right, here we go. And these are the pieces. And then what we're going to want to do once more, for good measure, sand it down again. Okay. Sand it down again. All right. So we're done. And the final part is we're going to glue this into those. These two pieces are going to glue into those two pieces. Okay, so now, here's the thing. You all know I have a bunch of prime cabs. And here's the 4mm that actually goes in. Okay? So you want to pick the part that's best suited to go into the fist, and the other part that's cut uneven, which is this side, will go into the thing. So here we got some glue. Put it in. Okay. And then okay, and the same goes for the other one. And now we put in the glue in here. And here we go. Use a hammer. Okay, so yeah, so you got to be careful that it doesn't. You see mine curved, so it might still look okay, but you don't want it to curve. Who knows? Maybe it'll look okay. And of course, you got to let it dry for a little while. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, this is a 4mm. This is a 5mm, and I suspect this one to be either a 6 or a 7, but most likely this is a 7. So you need all those. Of course, this piece came out crooked. I apologize for that. But once again, this is the moment of truth. Let's do our connectors. See, they connect really nice. Here's this one. That connects really good. And now, that's going to be cool. Let's see. Oh, moment of truth. Wow, look at that. Oh man, check that out. That is funny. This is Boxing Optimus Prime. This is Power Punch Ultra Magnus. That is crazy. Look at that. Now, of course, you guys have those 3D printers. You guys can do that. But I just wanted to make something, you know, to say, yo, Takara Tomy, your missing link Optimus Prime is cool, but those little tiny hands, man, they're not good enough for me. And so, yeah, look at that. That's cool, man. This guy's ready to punch Megatron. That is cool. Look at that. Man. And then, you know, let's compare it to the Optimus Prime. I'm sorry, the Ultra Magnus cab with the smaller fist. You can see those fists are huge. And of course, he still holds his gun. So yeah, I mean, look at that. Wow. So I don't know about you guys, but I think this is kind of funny. Power Punch Ultra Magnus to the rescue. Pow! So yeah, the thing that bothered me the most about the missing link Optimus Prime was the fact that he had these teeny tiny little fists. But what is the most predominant image in the back of the 1984 artwork on a toy box? It's Optimus Prime with that big fist holding that little gun. It's that big fist that has the Autobot sticker on it. That was predominant. And I think this really does show that off. And so, of course, you guys can do it. It's a little connector. And in no way at all do you modify the original parts. You just simply make an extra part that doesn't exist. And you guys can also make Power Punch Ultra Magnus to the rescue. Come on, Mike Tyson. Let's get ready to rumble. I don't need a freaking gun. I'm gonna punch you out. Come on, Nintendo. Sorry, Rodimus.
Sorry, Rodimus.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time. I love inventing, creating, drawing. I have many things that I like to do, but this one specifically was something that I'd been wanting to do for a long time. So once again, 4mm, 7mm, 5mm. The Ultra Magnus fist takes the 5mm, and the Optimus Prime takes the 4mm, and you need something in the middle to have that junction. To this, the 6-7mm here is the conjunction. Now, if you guys have 3D printers, you can print these out in no problem. If you don't, you guys have to go the old-fashioned way, just like I did, because I am still having problems learning Blender. And besides Blender, I have the Windows problem like everybody else in this world. But I gotta tell you guys, that is cool. Look at that, man, that is cool. This guy, you know, and if you can mold these fists in blue, or if you can print them out in blue, you can also do it for Optimus Prime. I wish I could do that, guys, but I can't. So the best I could do was pick the white plastic to make these connectors. But yeah, you know, that's good enough for me. I love it. So anyway, once again, that does it for today's episode. Thank you very much for coming to watch the show. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Share, like, comment, let us know what you think. And with that, and I failed to mention it last time with the King Grimlock, but God bless you guys in the name of the Father, the Son, our King, my King, all Christians' King, the King that we will all bow down to, Jesus Christ, and of course, the Holy Spirit. You guys take care of yourselves, especially each other. Take care of yourselves, and I will gladly see you guys on the next episode of Power Show. You guys have a good one.